Everybody up the hill! Everybody up the hill! up the hill.
Aaron All-Nighter.
Aaron All-Nighter.
Big salute to you.
I wanted to give Aaron All-Nighter a shout out at the beginning of the show, and I'm glad you brought that up.
About we just did.
Nah, we didn't forget. It was just like Sandro D was here, and he had a lot to say.
About bees on his head.
Fucking bees and fucking.
Bees on my head, but don't call me a bee.
Yo, what? How do you know about Andy Melanakis? I got cheese on my head, but don't call me a cheesehead. Aaron All-Nighter is one of the biggest supporters for anybody that's like doing something
If
positive.
you're bored at work and you want to watch him, I watch him every day when I'm bored at work. Monday through Friday. I get a good laugh while I'm at work.
Every weekday.
I
It's
actually
8,
call him at work too.
yeah, 8:30 to 10. 8:30 to 10.
I think 8:30 to 10:30. Get it right.
I don't know if it's, well, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 8:30 to 10 because I looked it up before
I think it's 10:30, but maybe I'm wrong.
Stop it, Rizzo.
Stop it.
Aaron All-Nighter, 8:30 to 10.
I'm saying 10:30, Aaron.
Monday through Friday. Watch that show.
Local's your number one fan.
It's the show is called The Fall River Experience. It's on Facebook.
Is that? I thought it was Espresso.
See?
What the hell was you thinking?
What the hell was you thinking?
Good morning, Fall River. It's your boy Aaron All-Nighter. This is episode 125 of the Fall River Experience. Now, we tried this morning at 8:30, but Comcast sucks. And yeah, Xfinity sucks. So the weather booted me off real quick. But please, if you're tuning into this now, I had over 100-something shares when I started at 8:30. We need to start this up again. Please, people, share this out for me. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. To your like page, share this to your Facebook story. Tag people in a post. Tag people in the comments. I'm back. Now, with all of that being said, I gotta let you guys know if you're a small business owner, local artist, or musician, and you're trying to get your business or products promoted, contact me, Aaron All-Nighter, and I will get those products and services out for as little as $10 per episode, $40 for the week. Packages vary, but the packages include graphic design, video editing, voiceovers, podcasts, interviews, flyers, custom merchandise, and more. Now, I start and end every episode with community service information, resource guides for food pantry, soup kitchen, childcare, emergency care services. If you, a friend, a family member, a loved one need any of these resources, don't be ashamed to use them. That's what they are there for. Now, if you're looking for the original show that I did at 8:30 this morning, it's deleted because it was fucked up. So this is the one for today. Sorry, we're starting this a little bit later, but like I said, the first show got shut down because Xfinity sucks. But all of that being said, I start every episode with the weather. That way you know how to start your day. So if you had caught me live earlier, I apologize. But let me run this down again and share this out for me. And on a cell phone, you can tag 50 people in a post. A laptop or tablet, you can tag 100 people. I'm sure you got like-minded friends and family on your Facebook that may enjoy this. Please, please help me get this up to our average of 200 shares per episode. Okay, I would appreciate it. Now let's get to the weather. Check this out. We'll talk about it.
A little bit of rain this morning. Radars all lit up behind us. Brittany in for Michelle on this Thursday morning. But this is not an all-day event. Big improvements as we head towards the weekend.
Yeah, this is kind of the worst of it.
All
We're
right.
going to take little baby steps towards some better conditions later on this afternoon and over the next couple of days. Looking out towards Newport, you can see that it's actively raining out there. There's a couple of raindrops kind of stuck to the camera lens, but also you can see a little bit of some reflecting on some of those rooftops where that water is kind of starting to pool in a few spots. Looking out towards Providence, visibility is not too bad, and there is a little bit of that rain kind of moving by overhead, but overall not a half bad start to your day. Just keep the umbrella handy because you will be needing it. The showers will be sticking around all the way through till about lunchtime today, starting to taper off by about 2 o'clock this afternoon, clearing from west to east. So anybody living a little bit further to the west will see a little bit of some drier conditions earlier in the day, but really the tail end of the moisture by about 2-3 o'clock. Improving conditions for your Friday. We're going to see those temperatures back up where they're supposed to be. We're in for a cool day today, but tomorrow back into the 70s. And then for this weekend, we are really going to crank up the heat. We're going to see those temperatures back up into the 90s, nearly 20 degrees above normal for this time of year. Here's a look at that live radar again. You can see that rain kind of pushing east across our region and starting to kind of move into southeastern Mass. New Bedford finally starting to see a couple of sprinkles out towards their area. This is all part of a much larger system. We're going to start to see this warm front push up towards our area. So the first half of the day, we're going to be dealing with the rain showers, but then eventually things will start to clear out and we'll be on the southern portion of this warm front and we'll start to see warmer air moving in. Temperatures right now, not half bad. We're looking at 56 degrees right now for Providence, 52 for Smithfield, 54 for Westerly. So pretty comfortable to start off your day. Where we start to see things kind of trip up is later on this afternoon. The air doesn't really change that much. We're not going to see much sunshine, so we're not going to be warming up all that much. So we'll see those temperatures kind of hovering in the mid to upper 50s later on this afternoon. That is technically below average. Normally we're looking in the 70s for this time of year for your daytime high, but for today we're going to be staying in the 50s. Now this weekend, when we're back up into the 90s, that's a little bit closer to some of those record-setting temperatures back up into the 90s by Saturday and Sunday. So a big heat wave on the way, or a big warm-up on the way. Not a heat wave. We'll be cooling back down by the time we reach Monday. Wind forecast, you can see that we're going to flip that wind direction once that warm front starts to clear our area. We'll go back to the south and we'll start to pull in some more warm and moist air overnight tonight. So by about 1 o'clock, you're starting to see those showers really push off to the east. Clouds will linger for the evening, and then overnight tonight will start to clear out. You're going to wake up to some more sunshine out there for your Sunday. Might be dealing with some patchy fog, but it will be starting off nice and dry. Friday afternoon, beautiful out there. Lots of sunshine. We're back into the 70s, but then late overnight Friday into early Saturday morning, we're going to see some quick little showers and maybe even a few rumbles of thunder kind of pop up and roll through the area. So if you're out late Friday into early Saturday, you might once again run into a little bit of rain. Saturday and Sunday though, that's when we really start to see things change. We're back up into the 90s. We start to dry out. Lots of sunshine out there. Could be feeling almost a little stifling at times because of that extra humidity. So do try to stay cool. It's our first real bump of heat so far for this season, so it might catch you off guard. So just try and take it easy this weekend. And then next week, we really start to level back out into the 70s and then back into the upper 60s. You can head over to WPRI.com. We've got that full 7-day forecast. You can check it out anytime you like. And I imagine there might be a lot of people driving down to the beaches for tomorrow and today, or not today, tomorrow and this weekend. For today though, not so much.
Yeah, and I'm excited about two things actually for the showers today. Don't have to water my plants.
There you go.
Just planted a bunch of those. And it's a great nap day.
There you go.
Especially on a shift like this where I haven't napped all week. So,
Silver lining. It's all about that, right?
Exactly, and we'll save the set.
Now, people, that was the weather. Today's going to be shit. Saturday and Sunday going to be like 90 degrees. Now, if you caught the live a little bit earlier, yes, I was live at 8:30, but Comcast sucks, so I'm redoing the live. Now, people, we talked about shootout in the city yesterday. Ridge Street, Danforth Street. There was shots fired on 4th Street yesterday morning. Let's talk about this right here. Check this out. We'll talk about it. So here is video over on Danforth Street of where the shooting happened. Now, it originally happened on Ridge Street, but the victims ended up going over to Danforth Street. So basically, this is what happened. Shooting on Ridge Street. They took off, followed the people onto Danforth Street. Then, from Danforth Street, somebody was shot at, and there was a lady pistol whipped. As of right now, there is no word if the person was shot, but there was a vehicle with bullet holes in it. And then police went over to Ridge Street to try to apprehend the suspect. Now, right here on the video, you see the corner of Danforth and Pine Street. Now, we brought this video over here to Ridge Street. This is when the police were outside of the alleged suspect's house, in which they were trying to get the suspect out of the house, but the suspect allegedly was not in the house. So this looks like it was a failed attempt at trying to apprehend the shooter. Now, as you can see, you see the SWAT team van right there. Multiple police on the side of the house trying to figure out, hey, how are we going to enter this property? Are we going to boot down the door? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? So they were outside planning for a while. And then once they realized, hey, the suspect is not in the building, they decided to leave. And as you can see, there's an officer right there putting his shield back inside of the SUV right there, saying, you know what, I'm done. This didn't work out very well. And that was that. So that was the shooting yesterday and the information that we have on it so far. So the information we have on that so far is that a lady was pistol whipped, a vehicle was struck with multiple bullets, and they have not apprehended the suspect yet. So that is unfortunate for the injuries, but people, yeah, it's the city. It's the city. Now, Lisa D'Souza says, laugh my ass off. The city's finest. Truly. My mother says, you're back. Yes, I'm back. The first attempt at today's episode, Xfinity hated on me. Good old Comcast. Now, please, everybody, share this out to your news feed. Hit right post. When you hit share while watching the live, you can send this to people in Messenger. It'll pop right up at the bottom. If you hit share and say right post, it'll put it on your profile. But the biggest help here is if you hit share and right post, and you can tag up to 50 people on a cell phone. You can tag up to 100 people on a tablet or laptop. That would be the biggest help. Now, Matthew Scott says not only they, but they didn't even make an arrest. Yes, the police did not make an arrest. Matt Scott says that police response was a waste of time last night. Over 45 minutes of streaming, no serious injuries resulting from the car shooting. True. Just somebody was over there streaming forever with nothing to stream. They just live streamed police cars with lights on. But hey, some people do whatever for views, right? Now, Neeson D'Souza says, welcome back. Thank you, Neeson. Now, like I said, if you're the first time watching this right now, I attempted to do this at 8:30 on my normal scheduled time, but Xfinity fucked up my internet, and I think it might be the weather because the bill is paid, but you know how Xfinity gets. Now, something that was paid for, because everything gets paid for, but was not paid for by the city, was the Braga Bridge. Braga Bridge gets lit up. Cost $8 million for the state, but we're going to get to the state's money in a second. Check out the Braga Bridge. Check it out. We'll talk about it.
Have you seen it yet? The Braga Bridge has a new look. On Tuesday, Fall River Mayor Paul Coogan, alongside state and local leaders, revealed the bridge's new LED lighting display. The system can hold 7 different colors, but Braga Blue will be the standard color. The project, which costs an estimated $8 million, is being paid for with money from the Department of Transportation in the hopes it could attract more visitors to the Fall River area.
I hope it sends a message that Fall River is a welcoming place. Whether you're coming up the river on a boat or you're driving in from Providence on 195, you see the lights, you say, oh, what's going on here? It adds a little bit of hopefully some intrigue, and maybe people are curious enough to get off and try one of our restaurants and spend a little time at Fall River. It'd be great.
And the state DOT will also be adding lights to the outside of the bridge for phase 2 of the project. It's expected to be completed by the end of next summer or early fall.
Now, a lot of people believe that lighting the bridge is a bad idea, that, we could use that $8 million from the state in other places. And true, you're right. We could use the $8 million in plenty of places. However, this is excess funds, meaning all the bills are paid and we just got excess money sitting around. So when you got excess money sitting around, you go spend it on dumb shit. We all know that because guess what? All of us kind of got a stimulus check. Pretty sure most people did not spend their stimulus on the best of things. Some people probably, bought a laptop, a TV, a video game system. There was a lot of that going on. But like I said, the city's got extra money right now. And if you're thinking, how does the city have extra money? Well, it's not exactly Fall River's money. The money that we have is Massachusetts money. And some people might get upset with this, but the state made a lot of money off weed this year. A lot of money. Check this out. We'll talk about it.
That was Amanda Callahan reporting. New at 4:30, marijuana sales here in Massachusetts have surpassed $3 billion. According to the latest report from the Massachusetts Cannabis Commission, the 216 retailers and 11 delivery businesses brought in more than $3 billion since the first stores opened back in 2018. The milestone comes only 8 months after cannabis sales passed $2 billion. On April 20th of this year, or 4/20, a day of recognition for cannabis users, marijuana retailers alone brought in nearly $6 million.
So, just on 4/20 alone, Massachusetts brought in $6 million in one day. One day. So that tells me, hey, that's good money right there. So you can make $6 million in one day in one business. Well, the state's businesses. You're fine. Like, that's dope. But $3 billion? $3 billion. Let me say that again. $3 billion. Now, over here in the comments, let me get over here. Now, Roger Payton says FTP. Matt Scott says, oh yeah, that $8 million that could have gone to the homeless in the city or the lower class. True, but the homeless, there is a budget for homelessness prevention that goes to Stepping Stone, the First Step In, all of that. Now, each city has homelessness, but if you think about it, Fall River actually does a pretty good job with its homeless. There's an estimate that was released from Star saying that the city has about 75 homeless people, and that's down from 125 as of last year that are outside homeless, not people who don't have an address or resident and they're couch surfing. We're not talking about them. But yes, the 8 million could have went to somewhere better, homelessness, whatever. But like I said, it's excess money that will gentrify Fall River. It will make Fall River look better. And like Coogan says, hey, maybe somebody coming over the bridge might look at it, hey, what's going on over here? No. They'll look around like, hey, this is pretty cool. Now, Jose Santiago says, that's dope. Reminds me of New York City. Yeah, it's pretty dope. And speaking of New York City, and New York City's connection to Fall River, North Park and Kennedy Park, which used to be known as South Park, is a scaled down version of Central Park in New York. The architect of the park design for North Park and Kennedy Park was the same designer and architect for Central Park in New York. So we do have ties to New York. So, like Jose Santiago said, the bridge being lit up is dope, reminds him of New York. Another thing that might remind some people in the city of New York is if you go to the middle of Kennedy Park, right next to where the skating rink is in the park, you will see a miniature version of the Statue of Liberty. Maybe some people have noticed it. Maybe some people haven't. But hey. Now, Roger Payton says, I wish it would. Bridge lights are an add-on after city issues have been solved, if you ask me. True, but I believe that the city's not doing that bad, in my opinion. Now, Erica Choi says they need to go fix all the potholes. Now, as for potholes, we are in New England. It's cold. Cold temperatures and the varying of temperatures affect asphalt and tar. So these roads get cracked because of, one, temperatures, and two, weight of the cars with consistent traffic. So you factor those two factors in, and we will always have potholes. We could spend $100 million a year in Fall River fixing up potholes, and then in 3 months, those potholes will be back. It's unfortunate, but that's roads in New England. Now, you might say, oh, well, there's other towns and places in New England that are cold, and they have good roads. A lot of those places have less of a population, less traffic, more tax revenue, because those places have higher incomes. Now, we make the city look better, better businesses will come to the city. Once better businesses finally come to the city, then salaries and wages will get increased. But to attract businesses that will pay more, we have to do little dumb shit like light up the bridge, light up the battleship. We lit up City Hall. We're painting murals places. From the highway, you see that big ass Viva Fall River mural. That's dope. And, it's a simple fix. It's something simple, but it makes the whole community look better. Now, Nissan D'Souza says, speaking of the Braga, they are gasoline down by the arches. If I see another high shirt in this tiny duck dually or run over some animals just trying to live, I will introduce them to the auto crowbar repeatedly. Okay, Nissan, whatever that is supposed to mean. Now, John Manuel says, love the bridge. My mother says, still got tons of homeless, could have revitalized empty buildings so they could have a roof over their head. My mother also says the budget is not enough for the homeless. True, it's not enough. We should have more for the homeless, and we should remodel these old buildings and not condemn one of them, but commandeer one of them, seize one of these rundown buildings, use state funds to fix it up for the homeless and open another homeless shelter in the city. But would that really help? We have the resources in the city available. As you see in the beginning and end of every episode, I play informational videos where there is dozens of resources in the city for people to use. A lot of people don't know where these resources are. We need to promote the resources that we do have and get people to utilize them. Because in the budget for those resources, they have a lot of money just sitting there waiting to get used, but people don't know about it. So, hey. Now, my mother says Florida would look better if we didn't have homeless walking around with shopping carts with their possessions or panhandlers throughout the city. It's going to happen everywhere. You drive Route 6 in Westport and Dartmouth, you're going to see somebody walking down with a Walmart carriage from Dartmouth down. Dartmouth just issued a fine to Walmart of over $19,000 for abandoned shopping carts in Dartmouth. They charged them $100 a shopping cart. And the fine totaled $19,000. So that shows you how many random shopping carts are getting placed everywhere. It's not just in Fall River. That's a problem that you're not going to be able to fix. It's called life. It's unfortunate, but no matter how much money you throw at people, some people will still live on some homeless type shit. They'll spend all their money on drugs, or they're not good at budgeting their money. They can get all these resources and then just blow it all, and now what? Now they're stuck again. You want to fix all of this? Mental health classes from kindergarten to senior year. Financial literacy classes that teach people how to budget and manage money, and get that going. Now, you don't have to say, hey, guess what? Let's teach people how to balance a checkbook. Not too many people are using checkbooks anymore. 85% of people don't use a checkbook. People, financial literacy, mental health issues, and drug awareness in schools. That will help the problem. Not just tossing money at somebody who don't know how to use it to fix their life. That's not going to help. That's literally will just be a waste of money. And the more money we give to some of these people, it'll be used for feeding their addiction. Because some of these people don't know any better. So we need to teach everybody as a whole. Now, over here, John Manuel says, people always have something to complain about. Shake my head. I agree, John. Anything that's positive in the city, everybody says, you know what? Well, we should have did this with that. We should have did this with that. But, yeah, people don't care. I mean, people care about what they want to care about, whether it's potholes, whether it's this, whether it's that. Like I said, potholes are always going to be here. Fucking get over it. It's not the biggest hurdle in life. And guess what? If your car gets damaged while you're driving down the street, slow down. Go slow over the pothole, or go slow and swerve around it a little bit. That's it. Now, my mother says you still need to keep track of money on a debit card. I agree with that, obviously, but I'm saying you don't got to teach a kid how to write a check anymore, There's no writing checks, paper checks. No, everything's on your phone or on a card. So teach people basic life skills. Like Jenny Rose says in the comments, basic life skills. Neeson D'Souza says victim mentality. I agree. Everybody wants a handout, but they don't want to do nothing for it. Or people want to just give handouts to people and say, here, we're going to throw money at the problem. That'll fix it, without changing the mind state of the people that we're trying to fix. If we just keep giving money to people who are addicts and have mental health issues, unless they identify their mental health issues and their addiction, any of the money that you give to them will be misused. So it's kind of got to be a hand-in-hand type program. Here, I'll give you all these resources and money that you need to survive and do what you got to do. But I'm also going to teach you how to recognize your faults and mental health issues, your addiction, whatever it is that puts you in this situation. That second part, we don't do that as a city, a state, a country. We just toss money at the problem and say, here, this money is for the homeless. And then what? We still have homeless everywhere. And we've been trying to help the homeless for years. There's some panhandlers in Fall River that have been panhandling for 5-6 years. You're going to tell me those people have never got resources? You're going to tell me that somebody who's been panhandling for 5 years don't got a disability check? Don't get food stamps? Let's be realistic here. You throw the lights on the Braga Bridge, you make it look better. I say throw lights on the battleship like they did in the Don't Look Up movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, Ariana Grande, and Jennifer Lawrence. Light up the bridge like that. Dope. We have the largest collection of naval ships in the United States. Yes, I'm going to say it again. The largest collection of naval ships in the United States is right here behind me in Fall River at the Battleship Cove. We need to utilize that. We need to make the waterfront look better. More events down at the waterfront. There should be consistent events every week throughout the fucking year down at the waterfront, in my opinion. Okay? My opinion, there should be an event down at the waterfront every fucking weekend. That's it. I think that'd be dope. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a kid from Fall River. Now, Matt Scott says the streetlights in the city don't even all work. Just saying. True, they don't. But some streetlights in the city get shot at with BB guns, or shot at with a real gun, or shot at with paintball guns where there's paint on them. And the glass of the light is broken now. Do we expect the community maintenance people to walk around and look up at every street light and be like, oh, that one's good. Let's go to the next one. Let's be realistic here. Okay? Like, come on. The whole city bitches about everything. It drives me nuts. But hey, one thing that we can bitch about is the fact that we're always going to be bitching about something. It's Fall River. Let's be real. But with the bridge costing $8 million, we have surpassed that with $3 billion in weed. Fall River keeps getting more dispensaries, which means more tax revenue for the city, more tax revenue for the state, and every city that hosts dispensaries, they get a bigger cut of the money because they're the ones sending those tax dollars to the state. So, you know, if you've ever bought recreational weed in Fall River, that it's like a 15 to 20% tax. Half of that goes to the state, half of that goes to the city. Massachusetts in one day on 420 made $6 million in 24 hours. How much money do you think that Fall River's making? I know that Northeast Alternatives, I've spoke with the owner and management, they average $750,000 in profit per week. Yeah. So take 15% of that, 20% of that, and give it to the state and city. So say you average $750,000 a week, 10% of that goes to the city every week. That's $75,000 per week from Northeast Alternatives to Fall River. And we bitch about dispensaries, but, oh yeah, we want potholes fixed. Fucking people, potholes. Now, over here, my mother says, I agree with you about the waterfront. Also, she put people in the city need to care about their city. True, and that falls under the broken windows theory. If you look up broken windows theory, it explains that if a neighborhood looks like shit, broken windows everywhere, bottles on the ground, needles, all of this shit, the community will treat that neighborhood like shit if it looks like shit. But if a neighborhood looks nice, people will respect it. Now, look at Corky Row. 4th Street, 5th Street, 3rd, 2nd, John, Rodman, all of those streets. They look like shit. So, if you're a resident from Fall River, what do you think? Corky Row shit. If you're going to go buy property, you're going to go buy it in Corky Row, are you going to go buy a 3-tenement house on 4th Street? Probably not. But if you had the money, you would buy a property in the North End. You would buy a property over in the Highlands. Why? Because the Highlands look nice. Let's go back to the broken windows theory. Highlands look nice. How much crime's in the Highlands? When's the last time in the Highlands you heard about a stabbing or a shooting or any of that? You don't hear about that in the Highlands. Why? Because it looks nice. That neighborhood takes care of their neighborhood. Why? Because it looks nice. If something look like shit, they're not going to care. But hey, it is what it is. Jose Santiago says, I like Fall River a lot. It's much better than where I came from. Now, where did you come from, Jose? That way we can show comparisons for the viewers. Jenny Rose says there are a lot of older adults with interesting stories about the history of Fall River. If we recognize and appreciated them more, maybe we could showcase and celebrate the good things in the city. The Battleship has a bunch of knowledgeable volunteers who know all kinds of stuff that they'd probably talk about more if people asked. I agree. So let's say we host an event down at the waterfront and have some of these people speak. Have some of the local historians speak. Or have some of these local historians that know the ins and outs Fall River go do an assembly at a school. Guess what? Have some of the Fall River military veterans who have seen action go to the schools and talk to the kids. Explain, the history of Fall River, the history of what they did. The history of the Battleship, history of Lizzie Borden, the fact that Fall River had Underground Railroad, fact that, the largest collection of naval ships, the fact that City Hall is the only municipality building over an interstate in the United States. There's a lot of things that Fall River is the only in United States. Largest collection of naval ships in the country, only city hall or municipality building over an interstate in the country. One of 20 cities in the country that have a Statue of Liberty. The only other city where parks were designed by the same designer of Central Park in New York. The most known park in the country. So, yeah. Now, Jose Santiago says, fuck the potholes. My mother says with all that money, they can fix the potholes. Just saying. I don't know. I think it's the older generation that really cares about the potholes, like 40 and up. Ain't nobody else give a fuck about potholes. We got bigger shit to fix than potholes. How about we fix all these condemned properties that are boarded up windows? They got crackheads and junkies outside all fucking day shooting dope and smoking meth. How about we fix that up? No, we're worried about potholes. That's what fucking people got worried about. Potholes. Now, over here in the comments, Matthew Scott says, I wish people would care about the low-class communities in the city that are suffering the most. Juneteenth is coming up. Yes, Juneteenth. There will be a big event at Kennedy Park. Your boy Loco from your boy Loco TV is behind most of that. And it's going to be a good event. Now, Jenny Rose says, how to repair the image of the city when you're starting from the inside out. True. It is. You got to make the city look better, and then people will be like, wow, it looks nice. I'm proud to be here. Got to establish some pride in the city instead of people just saying, oh, Fall River sucks. Come on, people. Now, Roger Payton says Black Lives Matter. Jose Santiago says Highlands are nice. Nothing happens over there. Jenny Rose says theft in Highlands, though. Well, property crime did go down 35% over the last few years. Jose Santiago says Dorchester, Mass, born and raised. Roger Payton says originally from Dayton, Ohio. Jenny says, I'm with that. That an idea I've been trying to put together. Listen, Jenny, I'm down to help promote and be a part of that. I would love to help put on and do more for the city myself. Now, Jenny Rose says, imagine the comeback story Fall River could have. True. Jenny Rose says the culture, food, churches too. I agree. Roger Payton says, yeah, there's more important problems in the city than potholes. Yes. Jose says, fix up some of these housing apartments. Yes. Roger also says there's also a march for Anthony Hardin the same day as Juneteenth. They will be marching through the middle of the street, taking space from the Fall River Justice Center to Kennedy. Sign up for the protests on any of the Fall River pages under events. So, same day as Juneteenth. A march for Anthony Hardin, who was the male killed by police during a domestic violence call. They will be having a protest in remembrance of Anthony Hardin from the courthouse on South Main Street all the way to Kennedy Park in the middle of the street. So if you're not going to be participating in that, just stay away from South Main Street on June 19th. You might get caught up in some traffic. Just saying. Now, Neeson D'Souza says potholes. Ow, ow, ow. My old bones. Damn potholes. Everything was better in my day because everything that motivates the older generation is self-centered. Don't do anything that doesn't improve their life directly. Abso-fucking-lutely. That's how I feel as well. But let's get over to some other shit real quick because I got a lot to talk about and, we're already backed up on time. But let me get over here real quick. Good old Sheriff Hodgson is in the news. Bristol County Sheriff. You got multiple people running against him. Nick Bernier, Democrat, former lawyer. You have the Attleboro mayor running. And you also have a retired Somerset police chief running against Sheriff Hodgson. All three competitors running against Hodgson are Democrats and Hodgson Republican. But if you know anybody in jail, you know that phone calls are expensive. Minimum $3 to connect and 30 cents a minute for all of that shit. So, yeah. But the High Court has something to say about Hodgson and phone calls. Check this out. We'll talk about it.
The Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court has ruled that county sheriffs have the right to raise revenue by charging inmates for phone calls.
According to a document filed yesterday, the High Court sided with Bristol County Sheriff Thomas Hodgson, stating that he and his colleagues can hire a telephone service contractor to collect those fees. In August of 2011, the sheriff's office hired Texas-based Securus Technology to provide and charge for phone services. A class action lawsuit was filed in 2018 against the sheriff and Securus, alleging it was an illegal kickback scheme that impeded on inmates' abilities to communicate with loved ones and their attorneys.
In yesterday's ruling, the SJC cited a 2009 act which was passed amid the Great Recession to allow sheriffs to bring in other means of revenue. Right now, inmates are charged 14 cents per minute. Sheriff Hodgson responded in a statement saying, quote, "This decision is not only a victory for the taxpayers and the citizens of Massachusetts, but also for sheriffs who continue to manage our corrections operations in a fiscally responsible manner."
Listen, it is more than 13 cents per minute, but I'll let that slide. Okay, I'll let that slide, but come on, people. If you know somebody in jail and you made some phone calls and you've accepted some phone calls from jail, you know that it is more than 13 cents a minute. Okay? It really is. But what do I know? I'm just a kid from Fall River, right? And all I gotta say is thank you for using Securus. Goodbye. Now, in the comments over here, my mother says 14 cents a minute. Roger Payton says Hodgson needs to go. That's illegal. But then again, didn't he force inmates to get vaccinated in 2020, which resulted in them rioting? There's a little bit about that. Now, Matthew Scott says, yes, he did do that. We haven't forgotten his abuse of power. Now, listen, I am far from a Hodgson fan. Okay. I've been a resident of Hodgson's. He's been my landlord before. Now, Hodgson, making money off of jail calls, as you can see by the Supreme Court, it is legal for jails, meaning county jails, to make revenue off of phone calls. However, Hodgson has abused his power. Back in the day, he was charging $5 per day per inmate, so $35 a week from people who could not afford anything. So back when he was charging the $5 a day, if you gave your loved one $50 a week in canteen, well, that $50 just turned into $15. So it forced a lot of people to be like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not paying $35 a week to live here. Don't even send me canteen. I'll rough it out. That caused a lot of problems. That got overturned. As for forcing inmates to get vaccinated in 2020, that is false. I know people who were locked up there in 2020, and they were not forced to get vaccinated. They were there the whole year, and they got released in 2021 and did not get vaccinated. As for the riot that resulted in 2020, the riot was over the fact that Hodgson went into the ICE building where the detainees, the immigrant detainees, were in the ICE building. Hodgson went in there, had an altercation with one of the inmates, told the inmate, get off the phone, hang up the phone, lock in your cell right now. The inmate says, fuck you, I just got on the phone. It's expensive. I'm not hanging up the phone until I'm done with it. My people already paid money. They already got charged for the phone call. Like, let me finish. Hodgson grabbed the phone out of the man's hand and hung it up on him. So the inmate grabbed the phone off the receiver and whacked Hodgson with it, which led to a bunch of inmates running out into the unit and led to a shitload of correctional officers running into the unit, and then the correctional officers beating the shit out of the inmates, cuffing up a bunch of them, bringing them to the hole in segregation in the EE unit and in the ED unit. And he was like, I didn't do nothing. I got attacked. Bullshit. You didn't get attacked. But that's also like Hodgson with moldy food and cockroaches in the kitchen and, you know, mice running around Ash Street. Which, you know, mice in Ash Street says, hey, guess what? Hantavirus. But, hey, you know, people can get sick off that, but you don't care. Now, Neeson says, absolute scum. Of course he's sending business to Texas. Freaking jerk off. Yeah, you know, you use a Texas phone-based company and break bread with Texas. Roger Payton says, sounds like a great sheriff then, huh? Nah, he sucks. But he will win again. Roger Payton says, I hope he gets replaced. Me too, but let's be realistic. Hodgson, there was a poll done a few months ago. Hodgson is the most recognizable Republican in the state behind Governor Charlie Baker. The only two people that might have a chance against Hodgson is the former Somerset police chief, because he's a former police chief, so that's law and order, or the former mayor of Attleboro, who had enough votes to become mayor of Attleboro. So if he receives roughly that same amount of votes and can get other votes from other communities, he has a chance. But with 3 Democrats versus 1 Republican, the Democrat voters will split their votes in 3 because there's 3 candidates. So you have 100 Democrats voting, right? Well, you got 3 options, so it's going to be split. Whereas if you got Republicans voting, well, they're going for the 1 Republican that's running. So I believe in this race, 2 of the 3 Democrats will back out of the race eventually and then co-sign the one person left in the race, whoever has like the highest in the polls towards the end. Now, Neeson D'Souza says, fucking instigator. Hope his wife cucks the shit out of him. Yeah, good old sheriff. Roger Payton says, the only reason why he has so much power is because he's America's sheriff. He takes regular trips to the border to help ICE with immigrants crossing the border. The right loves him. Everyone else detests him. I agree. Like I said, I am far from a fan of Hodgson. But he was winning uncontested before his trips to the border. Hodgson never made a trip to the border until 2017, when Trump was president. And Trump was like, we're going to build a wall. Hodgson was walking cell to cell. Well, he wasn't personally walking cell to cell. He'd have lieutenants and captains walking cell to cell, asking inmates if they would volunteer to go build the wall, even though knowing that there was no legal way for him to transport prisoners from Bristol County Jail all the way down south to be put in another jail during the nights and to have forced labor during the day. It was all a big publicity stunt to get his name out there in the news. And the reason why he got his name out there in the news is because news reporters knew it was bullshit, and they had to talk about it. They're like, look at this fucking moron. He wants to bring people over here to build a wall. How are you going to transport a bunch of prisoners? She's going to fucking Con Air it? Are you going to hop on a flight like you a U.S. Marshal? Come on, people. But, you know, everybody believes what Hodgson says that like him. But him being the spokesperson for Trump in Massachusetts, he ran Trump's re-election campaign in Massachusetts. He has a lot of supporters. A lot. Telling you, there is no way Hodgson's going to lose, in my opinion. And that's unfortunate because I wish he would. Now, here in Massachusetts, on some other shit, we got something called monkeypox. Yes, monkeypox. Now, I know we've all heard of chicken pox, okay? Well, the chicken is now a monkey. Monkeypox. Check this out. We'll talk about it.
We begin at 5 with breaking news. The first case of monkeypox has been detected in Massachusetts.
The Department of Public Health says an adult man had traveled to Canada before catching the virus. We're told there is no risk to the public. That patient is hospitalized and in good condition. The DPH says monkeypox is a rare but potentially serious illness that typically begins with flu-like symptoms and swelling of the lymph nodes and progresses to a rash on the face and body.
This is the first case of monkeypox in the U.S. this year. Texas and Maryland each reported a case in 2021.
Okay, so we've had one case so far in the United States, that good old Massachusetts monkeypox. Last year, there was 2 cases reported in the United States. But monkeypox. The fuck is monkeypox? Check this out. We'll talk about it.
Talk about monkeypox. What exactly is this and how concerned should we be?
So monkeypox is a virus that's similar to smallpox. And even though that sounds frightening, it's much less contagious and, importantly, much less likely to cause serious disease. It's typically acquired by contact with animals that carry the virus or with other people who have been infected. So it's unusual to have such an infection. The last outbreak in the United States was in 2003, where about 70 people contracted that. There are antiviral drugs that can treat this infection as well. So I think most people should have no concerns about this.
Excuse me. Yeah, monkeypox. What the fuck? I don't know. And one thing I don't know, well, I kind of do know. I've been talking about gas. I don't know, about a month ago, I was telling everybody, hey, right now, while your used car is worth more than you paid for it, and worth more than it ever has been in existence, trade it for an electric or hybrid. Now, some older people like, your car loses mad value when you drive it off the lot. Yeah, that's how it used to be. Now, your car is averaging 28% more value than before. Okay, your car, if you look it up right now, will be valued more than it was a year ago. But with your car value going up for gas-powered vehicles, gas is going up. So you're going to pay more. Whereas if you had an electric car, you would not be paying any of this. Telling you people, switch. Gas prices keep going up, and they stuck. Check this out. We'll talk about it.
Overnight gas prices in Massachusetts have reached yet another record high. A gallon of gas will now cost you an average of $4.73. That is 28 cents more than the average just a week ago. The national average is slightly lower at $4.58 per gallon.
Not bad. We went up 28 cents from last week. 28 cents in 1 week. And you think this is done? I've been predicting for months. You can go back to previous episodes. I've been predicting that we're going to hit at least $7, $8 a gallon by July. It looks like my predictions might hit there. Just because 28 cents in 1 week? Oh, man. Check this out. We'll talk about it.
All right. Our other top story tonight, gas prices continue to rise across the country and, of course, right here in Massachusetts. Not only have we set a new record, but we've also surpassed the national average.
Some states are taking steps to lower costs, like in Connecticut, where lawmakers unanimously agreed to suspend the state's gas tax until June 30th. 22 News State House reporter Ellen Fleming explains where Massachusetts stands with this issue.
Dropping the state's 24-cent gas tax has been a conversation for months here on Beacon Hill. But can Democrats and Republicans come to an agreement? With gas prices soaring since Russia's invasion into Ukraine, residents are feeling the pinch at the pump. This week, Governor Charlie Baker said that a gas tax holiday should be talked about. He also noted that other states that have suspended gas tax collections have had little impact on their bond rating, a main Democrat sticking point. The average cost for a tank of gas in Massachusetts right now is $4.70.
So the state is not hurting for money. They have more money than they've ever had. And this is just a small little thing they can do to help middle-class Massachusetts motorists.
Republicans have filed amendments into the Senate budget to suspend the gas tax.
I would say I'm extra passionate about the gas tax because I want to see a reduced price. I want to see people traveling and patronizing small businesses that are seasonal and getting a little bit of mental health relief.
Senate President Karen Spilka has said that tax relief is on the table, but not until the budget is passed. The Senate budget is scheduled to be debated and passed next week. Working for you at the State House in Boston, Ellen Fleming, 22 News.
All right, so it's supposed to be discussed next week and passed. So hopefully next week they get rid of the 24-cent gas tax per gallon. But will they? And as you heard, like I discussed earlier when I discussed the Braga Bridge and the $8 million from the state to light that motherfucker up, the state has had more money than it's ever had. We received shitloads of money. That's why we're doing all this little random decoration shit. We're like, hey, we're going to make our state look better and our cities look better. Look, we put lights on a bridge. Yes, the lights look dope, but people are going to complain regardless of where the money is spent. So that's neither here nor there. Now, over here, Nissan D'Souza says, don't listen to the older ones. That's how people got burned at the stake for thinking the earth was spherical and not on the back of a turtle or made in the center of the universe. Nissan D'Souza, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, but I read it for you. My mother says, friend bought a car last year for about $6,000. They received a letter from the place they bought the car from, offering to buy it back for $11,000. Well, that's a $5,000 increase in 1 year after using the car for a year. Where normally that $6,000 car would have went down to about $4,000, $3,800 in value. Tops $43,000, $44,000. But now $11,000. People, that's when you fork it up. Here, you trade that in. Now you made $5,000 profit. Now you put that $11,000 as a down payment on an electric car, which will save you shitloads of money on gas. So it's called an investment. But I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just a kid from Fall River. But by this time next year, so many more people are going to be driving electric cars, and they're going to be like, hey, I love it. It's so fucking easy. And you just plug it into the wall. It's perfect. Now, you got the home charging things that you plug into a fucking outlet. It's got this hose that plugs into the car, and you're perfect. The new Ford F-150 Lightning has reverse charging, where if your car is fully charged and your house runs out of power, well, you can plug that truck into your house and power your house. Fuck trying to find some candles and making sure your phone's charged to have a flashlight. Yeah, plug that motherfucker in with your truck. You see how times are changing, old people? It's called 2022. It's called technology. You got to catch up. It's going to be a big culture shock and change, but I'm telling you, it's here. Now, Nissan D'Souza says, this current spending spree Coogan is currently on, the Cooganomics recession will be upon Fall River when ARPA money is gone. Tune into the Fall River Insider as well. Now listen, Nelson. I've seen you on the Fall River Insider. I think you guys have a good show over there. You, Colin Dias, and Jeffrey. Good show. But I also believe that there's a lot of hate. And it's not just your show, it's multiple shows. This ARPA money was great for the city. And now with this ARPA money, we're doing the one-time fixes that we needed to do that we don't have a budget for. So you throw a little bit here, you throw a little bit there, you're good. Now when these positions that are being filled stop becoming profitable and stop making a change in the city, well, we'll be good. Now, Nelson says structural deficits. There is one major issue I have, and a lot of people say I'm crazy for, is Durfee and Diamond. I don't believe that we need a new school for either one of them. I believe both of those schools will be obsolete within the next 10 years. I say we should have roughed it out with Durfee and Diamond for the next 10 years. Call it a day, because in 10 years from now, every kid's going to be learning from home on a computer. So those structures that we're paying millions of dollars for will be useless. Probably turn into market rate apartments. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a kid from Fall River. Fucking 2 years ago, we did remote learning where we had no people in school at all for the longest. That showed that we don't need the building. I've talked about this here before. People don't listen. Now, my mother says they should fix the existing streetlights and light the ones that were never turned on. The city doesn't want all of these street lights fixed right now. The city shuts down at a certain time. Most businesses in the city are closed by 8, 10 o'clock. If you have street lights, then you'll have people walking on the streets. People walking on the streets and there's nothing to do because there's nothing open. That causes problems. So why would we fix the street lights? To cause more walking traffic, to cause problems because these businesses ain't open later? Or do we put the money to some other shit that makes it look good? Look at it. The state having more money than we've ever had before. We tossed $8 million on the bridge. That looks dope. When it was announced that they were going to be lighting the bridge, the post that was made by Carol Fiola had hundreds of comments. And a majority of those comments were people saying, hey, I'm about to go down to the waterfront to go check out the lights on the bridge. Now, just imagine if there was an event down there. That would have brought a chunk of people down there just because of lights on a bridge. Simple fix. And there's 7 different colors that we can use on these lights. So, each month that has a different awareness to it, it'll be lit up that color, whatever the color of that ribbon is. Telling you. Roger says, I agree, but people need to be able to see in the dark. It will cause more altercations, maybe even bike crashes. I believe that there's enough lights in the city. The streets that you need to move around on, it's all lit up. A lot of smaller neighborhoods and side streets aren't really lit up, but you start putting a light post on every other block or every block, a lot of residents will complain about that. Oh, now I got light shining in my fucking window because, you don't want to pull lights out here, but you don't want to fix potholes, or you don't want to do this, or you want to pull lights. There's going to be people bitching about everything. It's called gentrification. The city is getting gentrified. We are pushing poor people out of the city. We are pushing lower class people out of the city. That way we can raise the property value in the city. Everybody wants more property value. Everybody says, hey, I want this in the city. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? We bring these businesses here, and then when prices go up, we bitch about it. What? Like, we got the South Coast Marketplace that's packed all the time. People want a Chick-fil-A and Chipotle. Guess what? We've got both of them now. Both about to be opening. That raised the property value of the city. Having a national chain here. And I'm not just talking national chains like McDonald's and fast food shit, even though Chipotle and Chick-fil-A is fast food, but it brings people here. You ever been to a Chick-fil-A? You got to wait in line half an hour because of the drive-thru is packed. Raises property value. Starbucks in the city raised property value. When Amazon came to the city, even though the city gave them a TIF, a tax increment financing, where, you pay after like 10, 15 years, you stop paying taxes. That brought hundreds of jobs to the city where those people pay taxes. So just because the company and the building didn't pay taxes, all the employees did. And those employees wouldn't have been employed by Amazon if the building wasn't there. It's a double-edged sword. It's called politics. There's always something. Now, Nelson says every capital project that exceeds over $5 million requires a special election from the people. The city council sidestepped the people, and it was the wrong decision. When both Durfee Diamond have to be funded out of the budget on top of other financial obligations, Groundhog Day is coming. You got a good show as well, and keep up the great work. I appreciate it, Nelson. Thank you. And as for, I get it. The capital projects that exceed over $5 million should have a special election. But who's voting? Shit, we didn't even get 28% of the people to vote for mayor. You think people are going to give a fuck to vote for a building? You're going to have about 100 people that vote for a school. Maybe tops, about 500 people are going to go vote. Does that show what the city is doing? We voted for the city council. That's the vote we did. City council is going to make these decisions regardless. The more people bitch about it, is going to be a problem. Nobody's ever going to stay happy. But as for Durfee and Diamond, I'm not sure exactly how much Diamond will be costing the taxpayers as of yet because Somerset just passed it, but I'm going to get more familiar with that. But as for Durfee, for all property owners, for every $100,000 that your property is valued, you will be paying $69. So, what, you can't pay an extra like $200-$300 a year to have a brand new school in your community to make your community better? People don't want to spend that. Oh, why is it coming out of my money? I don't got no kids in Durfee. You live in the city, right? Hey, it happens. You don't like it? Go somewhere else. You tell people that bitch about America, hey, you don't like it? Well, fucking leave the country. Well, shit, you don't like Fall River? Then get the fuck out of here. Shit. That's my thing. Now, my mother says Amazon will leave by then. He's done that in other states. He has not done that in other states. He has actually been expanding facilities, and there's talks in the works in the Coogan administration right now from an insider tip that I've received that they are actually planning an extension in the industrial park to add on to Amazon. So Amazon will be getting bigger in the next few years. Amazon's not going to leave. Amazon is going to be building more factories in more places because more people are diverting from in-person retail to online. And that was exasperated by COVID. COVID pushed that up. So when COVID pushed that up, guess what? The timetables went up. You know how many fucking retail stores don't have nobody in it because ain't nobody want to go to the fucking store? It's dying out. Now, Nelson says 6.5 million. Also says Durfee is about 6 million a year. In addition, with Diamond down the road, it will be 6.5 million. All total for both will equal about 12.5 million. But 12.5 million is taken from property owners' taxes. Where, okay, property values have increased. I don't get it. Okay, average property right now in Fall River is averaging at $545,000. Let's just say 500. At $67 tax off every 100,000, okay, you're gonna have $268 a year on average per property owner. Whereas these properties a year ago were valued at $100,000 less. I will take my property being valued $100,000 more and pay you $300 for it. Sounds like a fair trade to me. It does. But that's economics. The economics right there shows, hey, you spend money, you make money. Because when Diamond gets built, property values will increase again. Now, Rogers says, agreed, Fall River is going downhill. If you don't want to be part of the solution and just want to complain about the rise in crime and nothing else, we don't need you in the city. There's more problems than just crime. Yes, crime's bad. Okay? I believe crime was worse when I was growing up. I know it was. Because when I was growing up, I knew everybody involved in it. I knew everything that was going on in the city. Any dirt that was going on or anybody that was doing dirt, I knew about it. Trust me. About 20 years ago, there was a lot more shit going on in the city. A lot more. But we got all these buffed up stats. Oh, look at it. It went up 20% gun crime. Yeah, from last year when everybody was in a fucking house. Oh, went up 20% from 2020. Well, 2020, everybody was in fucking quarantine and every store was shut down. So people were outside doing what? Oh, yeah, population's increasing as well. We've probably gained about 15,000 new residents in the last 5 years. Well, if you do statistics and probability, well, guess what? The probability of there being more crime with a higher population, that statistic goes up. It's simple math. But people don't take those steps. They just hear, oh, gun crimes went up 20%. Shots fired. What? And we no longer have the shot spotters in Fall River that we used to have a few years ago under Jaziel. The shot spotters identified if it was a gunshot or a car backfiring. Nowadays, you just got people calling. Okay, so there's 20% more people calling and say, hey, I think I heard gunshots. That's a shots fired report. You're going to tell me every person that heard a bang outside was right and that it was gunshots? Shit, I know people that were setting off fireworks in February. Could be fireworks, could be a car backfire, could be anything. Social media and everybody being able to see everything that's going on every day with a fucking live stream has made people scared and pussified. People are scared to death and they think the city's so much better. Well, so much worse. I don't know. I remember, ritualistic satanic killings in the city. Oh, I haven't had one of them in years, right? But what do I know? I'm just a kid from Fall River, right? Nelson says, I don't want to pay for something that doesn't benefit me. Is Westport, Little Compton, talking point? Talking about the absolute worst balls on the ass of society. I agree. But guess what? Westport's quiet. If people want that type of lifestyle, go there. Westport right now, rents for apartments in Westport are cheaper right now than Fall River. You want less crime? Fucking go next door. This is a city that is growing. Cities are always more money to live in than suburbs. Now, it was different here for a while in Fall River. You know, Somerset and Swansea and Westport and Dartmouth cost more to live than Fall River. Well, we're making Fall River more of a city now. You know, we're having more property value, more businesses come in. That makes rents go up. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just kid from Fall River. Now, everybody share this out for me. I appreciate it. Newsfeed groups, tag people in a post, all of that. If you got a like page, share this on your like page. I will like and follow your page back. Speaking of liking and following, turn on notifications. Now it says getting expensive with annual tax increases, water, sewer rates, property owners are getting squeezed. The rent will be about $2,000 a month in Fall River. My solution is we have to live within our means as a city, give taxpayers a break for once. A leaner government is a strong government for its people and future generations. I disagree wholeheartedly, Nelson. Wholeheartedly, I disagree. Yes, everybody wants a tax break. Nobody likes taxes. I hate taxes. However, Taxes pay for the shit we need to get done. We keep bitching about potholes. Where's that money coming from? Taxes. So if we need to do more work on the streets, we're going to need more taxes. We had lead in our water system from the pipes connecting to old houses to the water. Now, the city's water pipes were good, but the pipes connecting from these old properties to the city's water pipes, not good. The city's working on getting money to fix that. That's not talked about anymore. Nobody in the news or local media is talking about that because nobody cares. Everybody's bitching about everything else. Like, okay, the Flint. Everybody bitching about the Flint. Oh, we need to fix the potholes on the Flint. Oh, it's like landmines over there. Yeah, okay. Before we fix the potholes, I don't know, let's fix the fucking houses and businesses there. Fix that first. The potholes can fucking wait. There's still a road there. It's not like this shit was dirt. We used to drive on dirt roads. We were fine back then. Before the huge granite fire in Fall River back in the early 1900s, we were a huge textile manufacturer, one of the largest in the country. At one point, we were the #1 textile manufacturer in the United States. We had dirt roads then. So potholes ain't a big fucking deal unless you're speeding down the street and not paying attention to the road. Drive safer, you'll be fine. Drive slower, you'll be fine. Fix the businesses first. Even if you just gotta reface it, reside it, throw some new windows, a good paint job, whatever. What I think would help the city out, and this is just my opinion, the city, and property owners will fucking hate this, but if you're a property owner, you keep your building up to a specific standard, otherwise you get fined every day it's out of standard. Meaning, your storefront got some graffiti on it. Well, guess what? It's going to cost you $100 a day until that shit's off your building. Get to it. You're making the neighborhood look bad. Oh, you got an old rundown sign. Well, guess what? You're getting a fine. Your building's not cleaned up outside in the parking lot and it looks like shit. You're getting a fine. All the property owners would hate this. However, it would hold people accountable that own properties, and you won't have property owners like the ones on Pleasant Street, which have let their buildings be run down and a few of them condemned. It would be maintained. Fall River is so behind because we never maintain shit. Okay, we build something, we use it till it falls apart, and then when it falls apart, we bitch about the money that it's going to cost to replace. The fuck? Now, over here, let me get to this. Jose Santiago says, crime here ain't shit compared to Dorchester. Word. Roger says, are we getting body cams for all our Fall police officers this year? They've been talking about it for a while now, but I have yet to see that change. I want to see that change. New Bedford Police already has them. Roger, yes, Fall River Police have already implemented a training program for them. They will be wearing them by the end of 2020, as reports from the police chief have stated. So, yes, they will be having body cameras soon. And this new police chief, he's all for it. It's only people in the police union that were kind of against it, but they realized with all the backlash in the city and all the bullshit the Florida Police Department was going through, that they need to save face and get the body cams. So they will be getting it. Now, Nelson says, I agree, but if renters can't afford these rents down the line, landlords will have a lot of vacant apartments. Our city's makeup is 75% rental apartments and 25% single-family homeowners. Our budget will look very different. Landlords can't pay those property taxes because of vacancies. I respect your opinion, though. Nelson, you're right. The city is mostly rental apartments as of now. We are gentrifying the city. If we get low-income renters out of the city, we can have these developers come in and make more market rate apartments. Market rate apartments raise property value, which attracts better businesses, and these better businesses pay better wages and salaries. However, it is not fair to the low-income renters who can't afford to live here anymore. However, if you can't afford to live here in Fall River, there is other places. Fall River is worrying about Fall River. And it's about time we do that. Now, would I personally want a market rate apartment? No. I'm nice with my apartment as it is. It's great. And guess what? I ain't paying buku money. I found a steal where some people can't afford that. But say somebody lives in Boston 10 years ago. Well, Boston got more expensive to live in the last decade. There's people that are 50, 60, 70 years old in the city that will tell you, hey, I remember paying $40 a week for rent. Well, that changed. It's called change. It's going to happen. People need to stop being so against it and get behind it. The more people behind it, the more successful it will become. My thing with Pleasant Street, if I was the city, like if I ran shit in the city, I'm condemning a bunch of those properties. I'm just seizing them. Sorry, your property looks like shit. It's looked like this for a while. I'm going to have the health inspector and the building inspector go in there. And guess what? I'm shutting your shit down. And then I'm going to take it, and then I'm going to sell it to developers to have them fix it because I can't afford to fix it myself. And then they'll bring people in. Now, Kim Texera says can't ensure that falls under historic home or HOA. We've been spoiled for too long. Old Portuguese landlords, they're all gone now. Yep. Jose Santiago says facts, bro. People need to make adjustments for change. True. We can't live by the same means that we've lived by every day. And now with inflation and this and that and our property value in the city going up, how are we not budgeting better? Oh yeah, teach financial literacy in schools. We'll be fine. Teach mental health in schools. We'll be fine. Teach drug awareness in schools. We'll be fine. Don't pay $300 million for a new school to be built that will be obsolete in 10 years due to technology and remote learning. We have something called the Great Resignation going on in the country right now, where 20% of employees have left a physical in-person job for remote since 2020. Yes, in the last 2 years, 20% of people that used to work in person are now working from home. That number is only going to increase. There'll be more AI and robots and self-scanning and all of that shit in the next few years. electric cars. There will be autonomous cars that are self-driving. We already see one of those in the GMC Sierra pickup truck. That self-drives. It has auto lane assist where without hands on the steering wheel, you can switch lanes. But I don't know nothing. I'm just a kid from Florida. Kim Texera says, I'm at home working out. See? Now, Kim, before 2020, were you working from home? Or are you one of those people that was part of the Great Resignation? Did you quit a job to get remote learning? Now, Nelson says, Kim Texera Richard, old landlords, broken stair, busted water heater, fix that. Take pride in your property. New landlords, I got black mold in my bathroom. Fix it, you damn self-pleb. Listen, we got to hold these landlords accountable. The city council needs to pass some type of ordinance that holds these landlords accountable. Maintain the property, update old wiring, old water, old heat, old electric, update everything. If your shit ain't up to par, you get fined. That's my deal. And you look at it like all of those fines from the people that are like, yeah, I'll get to that. They're not that serious. They're not going to do that. And then they get fined. Well, guess what? That money goes back to the city. So that's revenue. We got to find more ways for revenue. Now, Kim Texera, who said that she's working from home, she said, nope, drove to Lakeville every day. Now, were you driving to Lakeville from Fall River? See what I'm saying, people? People are like, fuck that commute. I'm working from home. And Kim says, if you ain't up to par, your insurance sucks. True. But make it where the city says, okay, not only does your insurance on your building suck because it ain't up to par, now you get a fine. You got to give more incentive for these landlords to maintain their properties. Hey, guess what? I fine you 3 times, I take your property. 3 strikes, you're out. All right. That's what it was. Now, let me get to some completely other shit. We've been going off, but this right here, we was talking about formula a lot this week. There's shortages. Check this out. We'll talk about it.
As the nationwide formula shortage continues, experts are now adjusting their guidance to families regarding how to feed your children if you can't find formula.
The American Academy of Pediatrics is now saying that babies as young as 6 months old can drink cow's milk as an alternative.
12 News reporter Anita Buffoni breaks down all the important new details parents need to know.
Well, Brian and Kim, it's important to note that this is recommended only on a temporary basis to the formula shortage, as only 24 ounces of cow's milk should be given to that child each day. Experts warn too much cow's milk for young infants can cause nutritional deficiencies.
Families struggling to find formula now have another option of how to feed their little ones, but it's only meant to be a temporary solution.
This is just meant to be a stopgap and not to be a long-term plan.
The American Academy of Pediatrics says cow's milk can be given to babies 6 months and older. Local pediatrician Dr. Elizabeth Lang outlines the risks of cow's milk as a permanent substitute for young infants.
If babies have cow's milk full-time, before a year of age, there is a risk of iron deficiency, anemia, and other nutritional deficiencies, which is why formula is still recommended until a year of age.
We're actually in a crisis situation, right? So the advice during a crisis situation is different than under normal circumstances.
The American Academy of Pediatrics says it's not an ideal solution, but it's better than diluting formula or making it yourself. The organization's spokesperson said this in an interview on CBS Mornings.
It is really dangerous to dilute formula. You impact the nutrition, right? So you're diluting the actual essential nutrients that the baby's getting, and that can lead to growth and development problems.
If your baby has allergies or specific needs, the AAP says to talk to your child's pediatrician.
Now, the Rhode Island Department of Health issued guidance for families affected by the nationwide shortage. They also have a hotline residents in Rhode Island can call if they have an emergency situation and need help finding formula. That number is listed on our website, WPRI.com.
Anita, I have to say.
All right, so People, ages 6 months and older, your babies can drink up to 24 ounces of cow milk per day. A lot of old people are like, hey, cow milk was fine back then. But, hey, now it's not. Now, Nelson says the hands-free driving law needs to be tweaked for gig workers. We have to use our phones to accept delivery jobs. There needs to be something in the law that says only when you're on the clock, you can tap your phone. As soon as you're off the clock, hands-free. We sign contracts, and one of the things that can get you deactivated is excessive decline of orders. If we can't touch our phones, how can gig workers make a living? That needs to change. Yes, it needs to. But as for the hands-free driving law, even though it needs to be tweaked for independent contractors, that DoorDash, Uber Eats, Uber, Instacart, all of that, police aren't really cracking down on that. They're not pulling people over in Fall River if you're on your phone or if you're texting. Cops aren't caring about that in Fall River. They have bigger shit to worry about. But just for technicality purposes, yes, they need to change that law. That way there's no gray area on it. Now, next, check this out. We'll talk about it.
A bill that would legalize recreational marijuana in Rhode Island is now the closest it's ever been to becoming a law. Lawmakers in both the Senate and House committees approved an amended version of the bill today. Now it heads to the floor for a full vote in both chambers. This newest version includes the expungement of past marijuana crimes, and if approved, it would immediately legalize the possession of marijuana. Also important to note, if it becomes law, cities and towns would still vote to, or could still vote to, opt out of cannabis sales.
All right, so guess what? Rhode Island's on board for the weed now. They had medical for a few years, but guess what? Oh, now they want recreational. Why? Because they seen Massachusetts make $3 billion last year. And they're like, yo, I want to cut. I'm in. Let me make this money. Listen, I'm all for dispensaries. I'm all for weed. All for that. I mean, one of my favorites, Northeast Alternatives. Shout out to them with the moose and lobster. Okay, but people, it makes money. It is a new business field that is making billions of dollars. Okay? Billions of dollars. Now, say, hypothetically, just say every state had legal weed. And just say, hypothetically, every state made $3 billion. We'd have over $150 billion per year. What? Can we do that, people? What the fuck? Now, let me check this out. We'll talk about it.
Of Rhode Island Democratic primary voters, President Biden won Rhode Island by double digits 2 years ago. So we asked local primary voters if they want him to run again in 2024. And their answer may surprise you. 12 News Politics editor Ted Nesi is here now with those exclusive results. Ted?
Well, remember, our poll surveyed only Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents, two groups you'd expect to support Biden, but even they aren't sold on him running for re-election.
So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Joe Biden was 78 when he was sworn in as president last year, making him the oldest person ever to take the oath of office. That fact has fueled speculation Biden might not seek a second term, though the White House insists he does plan to run. In our new 12 News Roger Williams University poll, we asked 400 likely Democratic primary voters in Rhode Island whether the party should nominate Biden for president again in 2024. 41% say someone else should be the Democratic nominee in 2 years, while only 40% say they want Biden to seek re-election, and 17% aren't sure.
If I'm Joe Biden, these are not the numbers I'm looking for. I'm looking for like 60, 65%.
12 News political analyst Joe Fleming conducted the survey.
You would expect Joe Biden to do well with this group. Right. No question about that. I was a little surprised with these results.
Fleming notes that more than half of independent voters surveyed want Biden to step aside.
They may think Joe Biden, some people might think he's too old. That they want to see a change in there. They feel that the best way to keep the White House would be to have another nominee up there.
The poll isn't all bad news for Biden. 60% of Democratic primary voters in Rhode Island say he's doing an excellent or good job as president, while 37% say his performance is just fair or poor.
All right, so half of the Democrats in Rhode Island don't want Biden. Now, if you're a Democrat, did you vote for Biden? And would you want Biden to run for president again in 2024? Now, Kim Texera Richardson says we need to stop putting old people in power. I agree. Ain't nobody scared of no old guy. Just saying. Nelson says, nah, old bulls just want to badmouth any idea that makes their stances over the last 4 decades look bad. How dares war on drugs going through there? Ronnie Reagan. I hear you, Nelson. I hear you. Now, let me get to something else over here. Check this out. We'll talk about it.
New at noon, former Minneapolis police officer Thomas Lane has pleaded guilty in the killing of George Floyd. Lane is in the photo here on the right. In court today, he pleaded guilty to a state charge of aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. He is due to be sentenced in September. He was charged with 2 other officers in the May 2020 death of Floyd. They're expected to face trial next month. The officer who leaned on Floyd's neck, Derek Chauvin, was convicted of his murder last year.
All right, so one of the other cops, he pleads guilty. He's going to be getting sentenced, sued for the George Floyd thing, and all of them are going to get found guilty. We all seen it on camera, whether you agree that the cop killed him by his knee on his neck, or if you believe it was the fentanyl in his system, or if you believe, hey, it might have been a mixture of both. I personally believe that no cop should have his knee on anybody's neck, whether that person's high or not. Okay. And if a person is high and is suffering symptoms of a possible overdose, you as a public servant, as a police officer whose job is to protect and serve, should serve that person and protect their life, in my opinion. But hey, what do I know? I'm just kidding Fall River, right? Now, let's check out some quick positive news. Check this out. We'll talk about it.
Serena Condon has enjoyed art since she was little. A junior at Scituate High School, she's thinking of pursuing fashion design in college. She shares a project that just won her distinction in a statewide competition.
I put my face in kind of like the scene of Photoshop, and then I used magazines at the background to show what the media shows us, like what we're supposed to look like.
Serena submitted her mixed media piece in a mental health art contest put on by the Massachusetts Association for Mental Health.
Art is a path not just to expression of difficulty, but to well-being.
President and CEO Donna Mosh says more than 100 students statewide entered, Serena winning first place among high school entrants, Kendall Bellois earning the top spot for middle school submissions.
We ask that they reflect on why mental health is so important, and also to tell us a bit about what strategies and tips they use for self-care.
Mosh says over this year, the third of the contest, addressing mental health and sharing coping strategies has been more important than ever, with emergencies skyrocketing.
Those increases of people in crisis have been highest among young women.
Serena says middle school was a tough time for her, as it is for many.
I think a lot of the time you just try and fit in and you don't want to be different. You don't want to stand out.
She explains her motivation for entering the contest.
But I just wanted to be a part of it to let people know that whatever they're going through, it's okay. And no matter how old or young you are, it's okay to just be struggling at some point or another.
All right, so that teenage girl won a mental health art contest. And like I say all the time, mental health classes from kindergarten to senior year. It will help people identify their issues and how to get by it. But with all of that being said, I'm going to wrap this up with the informational videos like I always do. Everybody, I apologize for having to restart this live. Comcast sucks. But before I end this, please, let's try to reach the goal of 200 shares. Average 200 shares per episode. Let's hit that average, people. And if you shared the first show, I apologize. Please share this one. Okay? Share this to your news feed. Share this to groups, your Facebook story. Tag people in a post. Tag people in the comments. Send this to people in Messenger. And if you're on a cell phone, you can tag up to 50 people in a post. If you're on a laptop or tablet, you can tag up to 100 people in a post. Please help support by doing that. It is free, and I highly would appreciate it. Thank you. Now, if you're a local artist or a small business owner, you're trying to get your product and services out there, contact me for promotional packages starting as little as $10 per episode, $40 for the week. Packages vary, but they include graphic design, logo work, custom merchandise, voiceovers, podcasts, interviews, video editing, and more. So contact me for that. And now, as always, the beginning and the end of every episode, I play community service, resource, informational videos on food pantry, soup kitchen schedules, childcare, and emergency care services here in the city. If you, a family member, a friend, loved one, you need any of this information or resources, don't be ashamed. Utilize them. That's what they are there for. Tomorrow, I will be back here at 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Make sure you like and follow the Fall River Experience if you haven't already, and turn on the notifications. That way you know when I go live. I will also be going live from now on the Fall River Experience YouTube channel. So you can watch this on the Fall River Experience YouTube channel or Facebook page. But like and follow the page and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Now let me get those resource videos up. But my last words for the day is everybody be good, be safe, don't shoot at nobody, stop bitching about potholes, stop focusing on the negatives, and let's work on the positives. Fall River is gentrifying, property values are going up, and that will bring in better businesses and more money. More tax revenue, more money. But I'm going to wrap this up. You already know what it is. It's your boy Aaron All-Nighter. Fall River, you know I'm off this.
Everybody up the hill! Everybody up the hill! Everybody up the hill!
Aaron All-Nighter. Big salute to you. I wanted to give Aaron All-Nighter a shout out at the beginning of the show, and I'm glad you brought that up. We just did. Nah, we didn't forget. It was just like Sandro D was here, and he had a lot to say about bees on his head and fucking bees and
bees on my head, but don't call me a bee head.
Yo, what? How do you know about Andy Melanakis? I got cheese on my head, but don't call me a cheesehead. Aaron All-Nighter is one of the biggest supporters for anybody that's like doing something positive.
If you're bored at work and you want to watch them, I watch them every day when I'm bored at work. Monday through Friday, I get a good laugh while I'm at work.
Every weekday.
I actually call them at work too.
Yeah, 8:30 to 10. 8:30 to 10.
I think 8:30 to 10:30. Get it right.
I don't know if it's, well, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 8:30 to 10 because I looked it up before I
think it's 10:30, but maybe I'm wrong.
Stop it, results.
Stop it.
Aaron All-Nighter, 8:30 to 10.
I'm saying 10:30, Aaron.
Monday through Friday. Watch that show.
Loco's your number one fan.
The show is called The Florida Experience. It's on Facebook.
Is that? I thought it was Espresso.
See?
What the hell was you thinking?
What the hell was you thinking?